Hey guys, here I am wearing boring black because it's so cold here near the bottom of the world. Today I want to share a video with you talking about why I don't make perfect videos. And while it's great to strive for having a good product, for having things nice and as you want them, often perfection can hold us back. So for me today, I'm kind of bothered about this lighting. I don't think it's quite right. Maybe if I move back a bit. I'm in my room because I like this space. I like how cozy it is, and this is just my space. Out there is all space where there's kids and there's all other things happening. But I'm in my room. I also chose here because of the natural light, which turns out interferes with all this because it's not facing the right way. So the other thing is my computer's not filming perfectly because I got this wonderful 4K camera and then I need to upgrade some computer parts to make it actually work. But I want to share with you why it's important to just get started and just do it regardless and not care about those little details. And really the main point is because perfectionism can hold you back. And these things are funny because it's so easy to think, well, I'm not a perfectionist, but I'll sit down to film and I'll think about what I'm going to wear and I'll think about how my hair is, and there's just little details that we might consider when we don't necessarily have to. It's helpful to shift our thinking and think, well, I'm just going to show up. I'm just going to show up and be human and share what I have to share and serve people because it's not about me. So that's kind of why I make my videos not perfect. But the other thing is I really want to show you that I'm human and that you don't need to be perfect to do it. And I'm sure you're going to get value out of the things that I say without my hair being perfect or my clothes being perfect or whatever. So I want to show up like this as a real human, just showing up to talk with you to kind of combat the other stuff that's out there. The people who show up and they show one side of their life, the perfect side. They make sure they're all dressed up, their pictures are perfect, their videos are perfect, they put in so much effort to editing, which is all well and good. And it's good to have standards. But when I'm here to teach people like you and teach specifically mums and women and people who may be busy and people who may not have the energy or the mental space to make all those tweaks to make something absolutely perfect first go or at the start or even at all, I'm here to show you that stuff isn't necessary and you're still valuable and worthy as you are, and we want to hear what you have to hear. We want to hear your gifts, and I want to treat this, and I encourage you to treat showing up on the internet, showing up in your business, showing up in whatever you want to create, treat it as showing up to a meetup, a catch up with your friends. When you start a heart-centered business, I should have my microphone near me. You are wanting to, now to be less echoey, you are wanting to serve people theoretically, serve people who are like you and help people work through problems and experiences that you've been through and that you've overcome. So often what you're wanting to do is really find your people. So when you're showing up to your people, they're not the enemy. They're not people who will judge you, hopefully. They are your group. You're finding your space here. This is your space to come and show up as you are without having to perfect things, without having to tweak things about yourself just to be worthy to show up. Something that I find, I hate saying this is common or most people or some people or lots of people because that's a belief and that's a generalization. But I'm assuming that this happens, or I've seen this happen, is that we show up to business as though we're showing up to high school. And we feel like there's these high school dynamics. The thing about our subconscious mind is that it's created between the ages of 0 and 7. We're like a sponge soaking up beliefs that are around us, making meaning from everything without necessarily having the mental space to to kind of consider what it is or be discerning about it. I can't remember what the word is. But then it's not just that 0 to 7 age group. Actually, when you're a teenager, that opens up again and your brain is starting to rewire a whole bunch of neurons. It's almost like double checking the draft, right? It's rewiring a couple of things to make sure that they really are the beliefs that you're going to go with. Which is why teenagers are rebellious, because you're meant to be questioning everything. You're meant to be really working out who you are and what you believe. But the thing is, that subconscious mind opens up again during that time. So we're making meaning out of things and we're creating subconscious beliefs, and we might not necessarily notice that we're doing that. In high school, there can be this real desire to fit in. As humans, we really want to fit in, and that's a survival mechanism. That's an instinct that's placed in us to help us survive as animals. We need to be accepted as part of the tribe, because if we're thrown out, if we're outcasts, we might get eaten by tigers or lions. Where do we come from? Africa. I think that's lions. I think there might be tigers there too. Anyway, I'm visualizing the things that we were learning recently in our homeschooling unit when we learnt about the origins of humans. Anywho, what was I saying? Oh, you don't want to be thrown out as a social outcast. So you have this instinct, first of all. And then a lot of us have these, well, not a lot of us, some of us have these experiences in high school where we're trying to fit in, and we might have experiences where we felt like an outcast, where we felt like people judged us. I don't want to say most, but I feel like most of us would have an experience of being judged or of feeling unworthy. So you have these experiences, and then you make subconscious meanings from them. Like, that must mean that I'm this. That must mean that I'm that. Both in childhood and as a teenager, you're making meanings like, if they laughed at my clothes, then I must be really daggy. Or if I spoke up and was snapped at and told to be quiet, then I shouldn't speak up. I should be quiet. And we change who we are subtly due to these beliefs and these experiences. But what that's doing is that's transposing an experience and generalizing it over our entire life and making a belief about us based on that thing that happened, which might not necessarily be the truth. And the reason that I'm talking about all this is because sometimes that means that we carry these things with us into adulthood, and we have this subconscious underlying desire or feeling like we need to change who we are to fit in, or we need to impress other people, or that we'll be judged. And it's almost as if we entrepreneurs sometimes come into business feeling like it's high school, that we need to convince other people that we're good enough, that we're cool enough, that they should look at our stuff, that they should take us seriously, that they shouldn't laugh at us. And it's really important to look at that and think, well, what am I actually feeling? What am I kind of expecting? Who am I visualizing is going to watch this? I held a belief about my business where I felt like this was so subtle, I didn't even notice. But when I was thinking about my clients, I was thinking about I'd have to kind of convince them that I need to show up and show off like this perfect life, and then maybe they'd trust me. But the thing is, I don't need to show up like a perfect human. I need to show up as someone who's had experiences and want to share them so that I can help you. I'm showing up here not to people who are judging me. I'm not showing up in front of the cool group of kids at school and going, hey, like, look at my handbag, can I fit in now? I'm not doing something like that. I'm actually here to serve, and I'm not showing up to these judgmental cool kids. I'm showing up to people who are struggling in a problem that I've overcome, and these people that I can help, and people who are like me in a certain way, and they are my people. I'm assuming that you're watching this video and you are my people. You relate to me in some way. Gosh, I need to change the settings on my computer because it keeps going to sleep, I'm assuming that you are my people and you are not judging me. And I've shifted to adopt this belief that I actually don't care. I don't care who's going to watch this video because I'm talking to those people who are my people. Whereas before I was worried that the internet was going to see me and who's going to come across my video. But the thing is, the people who are going to come across my video are the people who are going to need to listen to it. So whatever you have to share, I would love you to learn to not be afraid of the camera, to not be afraid of the internet, and to shift any beliefs like that you might have so that you can show up and so that you can share. And realize that if you show up on camera, as long as you have decent video and as long as your audio is good quality, people will be happy to listen if they need it. Obviously, you are not for everyone, and that's normal. If you are for everyone, then you're being vanilla, you're being generic, and you're probably not providing something of value. But the thing is that the people you are for, they're the people who are going to stick around. They're the people who are going to see you. If you're worried about things that people will say about you, well, people are going to think things for like a split second and then they're going to move on with your life, with their life. There's something that I first learned when I was a teenager. I don't know if I read it in a book or a magazine, but I saw a quote again recently that they'd actually done a study on it. But most people are too busy worrying about themselves to worry about what you're doing. On the internet, there may be this fear that there'll be haters, but even if you get a negative comment, you can turn comments off on YouTube, or you can learn to overcome that kind of stuff, but know that those people, they're not your people, and it's a reflection of themselves, not on you. So, this is why I make imperfect videos, and this is why I try and overcome all these little anxieties, because I want to show you that you can do it too, and the value is not in all those little details. If you're worried about how you're going to appear on camera, if you're worried about what you'll wear or what your background will be, like I did all that, but in the end, you've just got to do it at some point. You've just got to do the thing that you want to do. And I would say that the one thing is, if you are camera shy, then practice and get better. You'll get better as you go along. It's important to start imperfectly, because done is better than perfect. If you never start, you're busy trying to perfect all these little details, but what happens is that once you start, you've got something to work with, and all those things evolve and learn naturally. Like, we are designed to evolve and grow and progress and get better at things as we experience them. Our brain is kind of picking up on all the things and learning them and adopting them naturally as we go, and you can learn as you go. But imagine if when you were a baby, you were too busy worrying about how you'd look when you would walk, and you were so before you wanted to walk, you're thinking about, okay, how am I going to do it? How am I going to make sure it's perfect the first time? And you sit there in that anxiety and you never take the first step. You've got to get up and start trying. You've got to start somewhere, and you fall over, but you get back up, and no one cares, because you're going somewhere. You're progressing, you're growing, you're learning to walk, you're learning whatever it is. And I guarantee anyone that you follow online who has this perfect business, this perfect life, these perfect pictures, perfect branding, if you go to their social media or their YouTube or whatever and you scroll back, you will find that point where they had started long before that, and it was imperfect for a while. It was imperfect. They just had ordinary photos, their graphics weren't great, but they found this rhythm as they went along, and they grew and evolved into it. And usually, there's this little point, and you can see that they found it. It clicked. Their branding and everything fell into place because they had gotten the bulk energetics of showing up, of who they are, of how they're going to speak, of their messaging. They'd gotten into this groove and this rhythm, and then those little tiny details could come in, because it's really hard to think about the details when you don't have the thing to put the details onto, if you know what I mean. So That's why I'm making imperfect videos. That's why I'm just want to show up as I am as much as possible. I'm probably going to still worry about the details a little bit. I'm probably still going to, I'll tweak things as I go, but just know that behind the scenes, like so many people I follow say that they're still anxious to show up. They still worry about little things because we're human. We are all human, and people are showing their best front to you. Don't compare your real life to someone's social media life, because like many people are showing up now and saying that, that's only a snippet of my life and here's some photos that aren't so great. But psychologically, we still take it as like we're creating a concept of these people based on their social media page. So even though they say that, you still kind of get this feeling that, oh, they're perfect, like subconsciously. This concept that you have of them, they're perfect with a little bit of this, but they have a real life. They do all the same things as you. Everyone has to poop, that kind of stuff. Nobody's perfect. And the other one I wanted to say, don't compare where you are now to, don't compare the first step in your journey to someone's 5th year in their journey. And that's too often what we do. So I hope that helps you. I hope that really just helps you get started, because we can all start to show up. We can all start to share just as we are. Just get started, and then you'll find your groove. You'll find your rhythm. You'll find your message. You'll discover your branding, all that other stuff. The first thing is to just start. So I hope that helps you. I hope that helps you start to take a little step forward to living your most fulfilled life and being your most expanded self. If you want to hear more from me, click on that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah. Click.